This verb lecture is on the perfect tenses. So, as I've said in class, there are several different kinds of tenses. We've been studying the simple tenses. Within each type of tense, you're going to have a past form of that tense, a present form of that tense, and a future form of that tense. So for the simple tenses, it's simple past tense, simple present tense, simple future tense. This tense is called the perfect tenses. Perfect tenses. And to make this tense, you're going to use the helping verb have, any form of it, any form of the helping verb have. So the present is have and has, the past is had, and then you could use the future of have, which is will have. Okay, so present tense, have and has, past tense had, future tense will have. So you use have. And then the past participle of your main verb. So you put them together and you get the perfect tense. You need both parts to have the perfect tense. Okay? The helping verb have is the one that's going to change depending on which of the perfect tenses you want and your subject. The past participle of whatever main verb you're using does not change and will never change. So again, just like with simple tense, we have a past perfect tense, a present perfect tense, and a future perfect tense. To make each one of those, we're going to change the form of have, but leave our past participle of the main verb the same. So let me show you what that means. Present perfect. Here's how we make it. We're going to use the present tense of have. Present perfect means we're going to use present tense of have and the past participle of the main verb. So we have, if we use the verb to jump, okay, we have jumped, you have jumped, he, she, or it has jumped. Have and has are present tense. We have jumped, you have jumped, they have jumped. Again, have present tense, past participle of jump for your main verb. Okay, and together, when you have both pieces, you have the present perfect tense. Becky has visited her grandmother often. They have played soccer for 5 years. Both of those are present because the helping verb is present tense, and perfect because we're using have plus the past participle. Okay, it's a little formula. It's like a math formula. The present perfect tense, when we use it, is when we have an action that happened at some indefinite time in the past. So we're not sure when it happened. Becky has visited her grandmother often. Okay, we don't know how often. We don't know exactly when. We know she's done it in the past, and done it more than once. It can also be used for an action that started in the past and continues into the present time. Okay, so that would be our second example here. They have played soccer for 5 years. So they're still playing soccer, but it started 5 years ago. So we use the present perfect to convey that. It's not done. It's not that they have finished, but it has been going on for 5 years. It started in the past and has continued into the present. So we use present perfect. They have played soccer for 5 years. Okay. If you just want to say they play soccer, you'd use present tense. But if you want to talk specifically about when it started in the past, right, how long they've been doing something or when it started in the past, that's when you use the present perfect. Have played for 5 years. Okay. Past perfect is going to use the past tense of the helping verb, which is why it's called past perfect, and still the present participle of the main verb. That's not going to change. So our examples here, I had jumped. Past tense of have, present participle of jumped, just like above. Had jumped. You had jumped. Again, past, he, she, or it had jumped, and then the same with we, you, and they had jumped. It stays the same. There's only one form of the past perfect. Had plus the present participle. When we use this is for a past action that happened before another past action started. So we have two events that happened in the past or started in the past, and one is happening before the other. The one that happened first, earliest in time, we use past perfect to show that sequence of events. Okay? So, and again, you form it by using the past tense of have, which is had, and the past participle. So, example, yesterday Charles had visited the museum before he ate lunch. So yesterday Charles did two things. He visited the museum and he ate lunch. He visited the museum first. So we used past perfect to convey that sense of sequence. Charles had visited the museum before he ate lunch. And we know it's done. It happened in the past, has been completed before he ate lunch. Okay, which also happened in the past. Future perfect, okay, we're going to use the tenses form by using the future tense of have, which is will have, and the past participle of your main verb. So using jump again, we combine the future tense of have, will have, plus the past participle jumped to have will have jumped. And it's the same regardless of what your subject is. You will have jumped, he, she, or it will have jumped, we will have jumped, you will have jumped, they will have jumped. Again, there's only one way of doing the future perfect, will have plus the past participle of the main verb. So up here I use graduate. Becky will leave for France in June, but she will have graduated first. When we use future perfect is to name an action that will take place in the future before another action in the future. So now we have two events happening in the future. One's going to happen first, and it's going to be completed before the other one happens. And that's when we use future perfect. So Becky's going to leave for France, and she's going to graduate. She's going to graduate. It's going to be done and over before she leaves for France. So we use simple future for the second action. Becky will leave for France. That's happening second. So we use simple future, and we use the future perfect for the first of the future actions that's going to be done before this one. She will have graduated first. Okay? It's not a tense we use often, but we do use it on occasion. So it's important to be able to recognize it and understand what it does for us. What it does for us is be able to put in order two events happening in the future. So what I want to do now is compare, okay, the perfect tenses. Okay. Note that the helping verb have is what changes in the sentences below. The main verb remains the same in the past participle form. Okay, so just like simple present, simple past, simple future, we have present perfect, past perfect, future perfect. And we're using have plus the past participle for each. We just changed the form of have to convey whether it's present perfect, past perfect, or future perfect. So when it's present perfect, it's present tense of have plus the past participle. When it's past perfect, it's the past tense of have plus the present participle plus the past participle. It's a tongue twister. And when it's future perfect, we use the future tense of have plus the past participle. So the three sentences: I have watched every season of The Amazing Race. I had watched last week's episode when the dogs needed to go out. Two events happening in the past. This one happened first, then the dogs need to go out. I will grade projects next Sunday, but I will have watched the next episode first. So again, two things that will happen next Sunday. Well, I'm going to watch the episode, then I'm going to grade projects. So we have future tense here, future perfect here, will have, plus the past participle watched. And that's how you can tell. You just look at your helping verb. Is the helping verb present tense, past tense, or future tense? And then that tells you, if you have present perfect, past perfect, or future perfect. Here's an example with an irregular verb. Okay, it's important to use that past participle correctly with an irregular verb. So, again, present perfect, we have the present tense of have. I will have seen every season of The Amazing Race. The past perfect, I use the past tense of have, which is had. I had seen last week's episode when the dogs needed to go out. And future perfect, I'm using the future tense of have over here. I will grade projects next Sunday, but I will have seen future perfect. Will have seen the next episode first. Okay? I like to think of making verb tenses as a math equation. So one way to think about it is have or has plus the past participle equals present perfect. Had plus the past participle equals past perfect. And will have plus the past participle equals future perfect. Always, for every verb in our language, this holds true. Okay, so if you like math, you can think of it as an equation. For your assignment, you are to pick a verb. It can be a regular verb like watch or an irregular verb like see, but it cannot be either of these two. And I want you to write 3 sentences exactly like I have here, with present perfect, past perfect, and future perfect, okay? Make sure that you're using the correct verb in present perfect to match whatever subject you have.